I went out to, Somerset Home Improvement from Solon and asked them to come down and take a look, measure it, give me a cost for replacement, and that came out at $103,700. It's like he said, he said in the last several months, the price of the roofing has actually doubled.
Oh, yes.
And so, the first quote I had was $150,000, so I was really kind of happy to see $103,000. It was, okay, so, granted, the first guy was just, it was actually the contractor who was building the PPE building, and he just kind of looked at it and gave us a rough estimate. Somerset came down and measured it out, and so, obviously, we're going to RFP, I just needed a rough estimate of where we were, so that's what that is in there. I don't know if it's your desire to address that in 1 year, address that in 2 or 3 years, but, the roof is rusting, and I just wanted it to be on, kind of like the HVAC system. I want it on the radar screen so that we know we at least have a plan moving forward.
What about coating the roof?
I have been told that by one person, I was told by one friend, this may be a question, I was told by one person that it could be sanded down and repainted and taken care of the rust spots, and I was told by another that that roof comes coated that way, and therefore they don't necessarily sand down and repaint those.
When they did the,
Who told you that they don't sand down and repaint them?
The $103,000 estimate.
No.
yeah,
And I don't know, because, I'm not trying to say that he's
Right.
saying something, because I'm not a roofing guy, so, we can probably bring in.
Do you have any idea when that roof was originally
When the
done or
building was built
replaced?
in 2000, 1999 to 2000. We moved into the building in September of 2000.
It shouldn't be
And
rough.
So the idea is you have to replace the sewer roof, you can't paint it?
That I don't know, Commissioner. I'm running on what I've been told by the person who gave us the estimate, okay?
Okay.
I mean, obviously, that comes all pre-coated and treated, so I don't know what that treatment that's on the roof now consists of. I don't know how that's done. I don't have the expertise to know whether it's,
Yeah.
doable,
There's generally
sand down
two,
everything that's on there, the bad spots, and then
Right.
repaint it or not. Because it's not necessarily just paint on there, it's a sealant coat that's been
when they
applied.
did Belmont Motel, they did an acid wash on it. And then if there was any residual chips or anything, they scraped them off and then repainted. And it's been that way for
Really? Okay.
20 years.
Yeah. That'd be interesting to see if somebody has the availability to do something like, at least look at it.
Yep.
And then what the warranty would be on their work.
Correct. Yep. Yeah, and so that's why I say, I don't know that we want to do this in 1 year. I just want it, if we're going to at least put some money away to start looking at the project and know that it's here and it needs to be done. We don't have any spots that are rusted through at this point, which,
you shouldn't.
no.
Yeah. What line is that on? Is that
It's
one?
actually,
That's on page 3 of your capital line,
yeah, Commissioner, it's on.
3.
Yeah.
and then it's,
Transo
Under-
right there,
the roof.
2000. Oh, wrong one.
The roof.
Yeah, the roof is actually at the bottom of page 2.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
but we commissioners have adjusted
Oh.
already.
At least on mine, it's on the bottom.
New cat, Jackie,
Anyway, with that, I think that you can get away with painting over it, sanding and painting. I depend, but again, we do need to look at what the warranty is, because
Right.
maybe whoever, and I don't, is the installer still in business?
That put that on?
Yeah.
I would have no idea who that was, Commissioner, to be honest with you, because I.
And it wouldn't necessarily be somebody to do that anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a difference between installers and somebody that will
True.
Right.
paint.
Manufacturer.
Yes, but I was just thinking that if the metal was warranted, then.
Well, I meant the warranty on future
On
work.
future
as
work.
far
Oh,
as-
yeah, no, I was just thinking that the material itself.
I would be shocked. I've never seen anything with,
'Cause
and it would be prorated anyway, in most cases. If it had a 25-year warranty and we're
20.
near that or further, the proration would be,
Zero.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it'd be negligent.
And that would be based on the original cost of that, which is probably.
Even worse,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
No,
even worse.
well, once again, pursue the,
Replace roof.
The estimate that I had, with the rough estimate, to do what we are discussing here now, as far as sanding and resurfacing, was 65,000.
Yeah.
okay. So another 40,000 and you've got the new roof altogether.
And, you know, I mean, we talk about this, and when I say, do we want to make this a multi-year project, as far as putting $35,000
Right, start.
in now?
Right.
If we do that, I think I may not be an issue for me, but I just want to caution you that if we've seen steel double this year, this $105,000 project will be $140,000 or $150,000 if we put it out 3 or 4 years. And I'm not saying that that's not the right way to do it, I'm just saying that,
Right.
you know, we've got to anticipate that what we have today for a price isn't necessarily what it's going to be in 3 or 4 years. And it may go down, I highly doubt it.
It's dropping right now.
Is it?
Not, yeah, well, all building materials are, because nobody's building
Nobody's
anymore,
building.
because nobody can afford to buy anything. So it's sitting on the shelf, and
Yeah.
free market in that situation's actually working, so.
Well, if we're
So
gonna
as
do-
I say, if you wanted, I'm sorry,
if we're gonna go either way, and I appreciate that you're doing these informal estimates, but if we're going to decide one way or the other, we'll still need to go for an RFP.
oh, no, absolutely, no, I wasn't proposing that these were,
Right.
that these were the estimates, I just have a.
No, I know.
Well, actually, I
You
have
just-
the one from.
You would actually talk to 2 people for estimates. One was way higher than the other, and then you
Right,
gave
right.
one on 3.
Yeah, this,
And he's trying to build an account as opposed to asking for it all at once in 2
No, no,
or
I-
3 years.
and this
I
is,
appreciate
this,
that.
you know, this is
Because
simply estimate.
forward thinking.
When the
estimate
time
to-
comes, you'll put it out.
To strip the existing metal from the roof of the communications center, clean up and remove debris, install new 24 gauge double lock standing seam, galvalume metal on the roof of the communications center. So that was the one I actually had with me. So that was the one that, the other one, the informal one I had, that was just kind of in an email that, you know, was an estimate.
So,
Can I just ask a general question as far as this process? So as being new to this particular project process, as we're going through and we're approving these, is there a time in the future to revisit any of these, or is it a done deal as of today?
No, it's totally up how the commissioners want to.
You revisit it with the budget committee, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'll be multiple chance, and this isn't just this, but this is overall of today, not
Usually,
this
before
particular
we
thing.
do the budget committee, though, the commissioners are set, finalized, and really, the budget is handed over to you, so you own the budget at that time. Then when it's presented to the budget committee, in theory, you're presenting it to them, you're not physically presenting it, but
You do
it's your budget
resolutions.
handing it out
Okay.
to them, so.
So as the chair, at some point in time, we will sit down
With the budget.
as a board, no, prior to the budget committee, right?
And accept the budget.
And make sure that there's no inconsistencies between, even though today, you know, I'll be voting to approve things,
Right.
as we have a little bit more time, and then look at the overall picture, may need to revisit some
We can
things.
come back and amend anything we want.
So that is your plan?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'll be our plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick question in terms of getting the estimates for this, when it's decided to be done, and we're talking about replacing the roofers versus painting and sanding, so we would want 3 estimates for each one of those things, right?
We have to go out to
Well, let's go
RFP
to-
by law,
Right.
when the time comes to do it.
So,
Request for proposal. Okay. Any other questions on capital?
so leave in the 105,000 here, as is.
You say?
105,
105,000 in as is for the roof?
15,000?
No, 105.
The 15,000 was for the HVAC.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
105 is for that, because we've adjusted 40,000 in. I think that 105 might be high if we're going to do multiple years, or if we find that we
We put
can,
in as if you was going to actually replace it.
yeah.
Right.
next year.
Well, we can come back to that, but why
Yeah,
don't we,
can
why don't we,
Just zero that out and revisit it?
we won't zero it out, we'll just TA it for now and move forward. Give it a,
Yeah, as long as we highlight that we're gonna revisit it, I'm
Yeah.
good with that.
but we'll look at that. And irrespective of the estimate, I wonder if 105 is enough. It seems, I haven't seen, I can't think of the roof, that's the further back building?
Yes. Yeah.
Almost seems, well, because the material's gone up so much, it's not so much. I did a metal roof a couple of years ago, and it was 25,000. It's a steep roof with angles and whatnot, so it was detail to it. And we don't have a chimney on that one,
No.
so.
That price you got, was that stripping it?
Yeah,
Yep.
that was soup to nuts. So,
I'm not gonna second guess that. He looked at it, measured it.
yeah.
Yeah,
If I looked at it, measured it, and I came up with a different number, then I'd question it. Outside of that, go with what,
Well, and it's
and
a
we're
number to
guessing what
work
it's gonna
from.
be in 3 years from now.
You know, it's a number to work from, and,
Right.
and, you know, I mean, we could in 6 months, if this, even if this is in now, and we go out in July or August at RFP, we could come in at more than 105,000 even at that point. So, I mean, it's, I think, you know, when we talk that far ahead on a project of that
Right.
caliber, I think we're kind of hoping that we have the best case scenario.
as opposed to the worst case
Yeah.
scenario.
Well, on that particular line, I mean, to me anyway, the biggest question is, do you set it all aside, you know, this year in case it's gonna happen next year? Or do you do a percentage of it? Or do we let it ride for another budget cycle?
I don't want to let it ride. I want to at least put something in, not have a,
Yeah.
The one thing that I will, one of the reasons why I said it needs to be done, but to get it on everybody's radar screen, if you want to do a multiple year, if you put, I don't care what you decide, but if you put $25,000 in as a marker this year, it at least sets the pattern for the future, that's a project that's been recognized that needs to be funded. And also, next year, that $175,000 from Central Square will drop off. So that we fulfill that requirement or that need this year, that 175.
Right.
So it would be, well, obviously be more capital requests, but it would allow maybe a little more leverage next year even to,
well,
Right. Well, and I'm looking overall, I mean, this is just the scratch on the scratch of the overall budget, but
well, this,
looking at that number, the overall budget, I mean, there's gotta be places that we're gonna have to do some
Yeah.
compromising, so,
well,
in
the
my
other-
mind, anyway.
I know, but I was thinking, when you go back to Central Square, and the 175 will drop off, but then we're going to be looking at the jail module popping up. Will that pop up
well,
and become
if I
another?
understand correctly, and Patrick may have this information, that's all covered under the Securus cost, correct?
Yeah.
So that's currently already there.
They have actually utilized the commission we get from the phone system to cover that cost. So the system, in theory, comes to us at no cost.
And what's happened is Securus has sold out to Central Square, so I mean, I don't see there being an additional cost to get the jail up and running in Central Square. At least that hasn't been conveyed.
And then how much do we lose should legislature pass the new law that's been presented to have free phone calls from jails?
I don't have that.
That just, that just pertains to the client, to lawyer, but still, it's a percentage. So,
No, I think this is just the personal calls and video chat. And they got iPads also that they get charged.
yeah, okay.
But, you know, our phone revenue is probably 150,000 a year total.
I just,
But I
you know,
don't think you lose all that.
no, we wouldn't lose it all, but we'd lose some, and I just don't know how much goes to client to lawyer, the confidential phone calls, which now want to be made free. So, just a concern and something to look at. Red flagging it for us.
Frankie?
Why don't we, considering we're looking at 175 going away, at least for this year, just have it at 65,000 for the roof. That way we'll have a jump on it.
So this gonna be like a 2-year or
I would think a 2-year,
2-year?
or we could do 75, so it'd be 75, 75. But, like, I don't think, I haven't seen the roof. I'd have to go look at the roof, but it doesn't strike me as if it's going to leak through.
No, that isn't the case. It's just, I mean, first of all, it is a county building that, needs some type of attention to it, and just like the roof had to be replaced here.
Right.
It's,
Yeah.
So
Is that
where
anything?
did that, we're talking about 100 and, well, of course, his number, but $103,000 estimate, and you came up with 75,000.
I came up with that because the other estimate was 150, and we're looking at a future where the estimate might increase. It might go down, we don't know, but
Right.
Right.
But in the meantime, if it did increase between now and the future estimates or whatever, then if we have, say, 50,000 in there, then the next installment's gonna have to be 75 or 80 or something to that effect.
right.
I think as a,
I think we, yeah, I agree with Joe. I think if we put it at 50 this year and address it in the capital for next year, increase that line if we need to next year.
and we have the opportunity to see if there is a painting contractor out there that can do it, paint it as opposed to replace it, and,
Yeah.
those sorts of things. I mean, in our town, we've done that with fire trucks, for instance, you put $25,000 a year
Yeah.
every year, and then when you get close to having to replace it, you might have to kick in 75 or 80 or whatever. It's,
So there's another consideration to this, and not being familiar with the county budget, and I know it's like a little at a time to get up to the expense you need it for the year, you're gonna have to have it done. There's also the opportunity to appropriate that money for the year it's been done, and it goes back off the budget the next year anyway.
Well, this goes into a capital account,
I know this does, but I mean, in terms of the roof being done, I mean,
right,
you could do it that way.
right,
yeah.
right. So the big concern is because of inflation and all the increased labor costs that we're gonna have in every department, fuel costs, all these other costs,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a huge increase.
Yeah,
So somewhere we've gotta make adjustments on what we've got.
with this budget, we're looking at an 18% increase.
And is that acceptable?
No,
So so at some point in time, somewhere along the line, things have gotta shrink a little bit.
right.
Not knowing, I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about what ifs, and if the price goes up and the price goes down, but I think starting at the 15 grand is probably where we ought to hit if we're gonna do anything.
To place that marker to open that
The 50
line.
grand for the roof?
15,000 to open that line, I mean, in the capital expenses, and not trying to figure out what's gonna happen 2, 3, 4 years from now,
Right.
because we don't know. I mean, there's just no way you can't, I mean.
We have the ability to, we plan on revisiting this anyway. I mean,
Right.
At this point in time, we lay that marker down, and then if we feel like, okay, well, we've made some adjustments other places, and we want to make this 50 instead of 15, or 75 instead of 15, then you can do that, right? Does that sound,
Okay, so we will
Make
put
sense?
down, instead of 105,000, we'll use 50,000.
15?
I
50.
I would say 15 and keep it at that for right now, and lay that down as a marker, and then we can revisit it. I mean, because 50,000, right now, with the budget the way it is, I mean, it's probably not gonna change it that much, but we've got to try to cut where we can cut, wherever we can cut in this budget, and laying down a lot of capital expense and expenditures for something in the future right now probably is not the best approach. I think 15,000 is sufficient to start that, lay that down, and we can discuss it later on.
Okay. I respectfully disagree. I think at 15 is too low.
I,
Well, can
I
we-
know what you're saying.
When we revisit that, you want to bring that back up and
Revisit that,
see what we end up with a final number and say, okay, well, we feel comfortable with increasing it to 50? That way they would move to the next thing, or not?
If we're going to put it as a marker, let's do 25 instead of 50 or 15.
25.
25, I mean.
Again, we're gonna revisit it, so-
Yeah, okay.
That's fine.
Let's just make that 25 then.
So are we looking at the 15 or the
Where were we at?
We're making the proposed budget by the commissioners at 25,000 for that one line of the roof, the EMA roof. All right, so
So
let's move forward then.
we're back on the other page.
You all set with me, gentlemen?
I believe so. If we're all done with communications and EMA, we're done.
much.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Yeah.
We haven't
We
made,
didn't motion second to
No.
approve correct, communications yet.
no.
No.
Make a motion, we approve the amount, EMA line.
Oh, thank you.
All right, thank you. So we're at DA, District Attorney.
Anyway, I made a motion to approve the
Oh,
amount.
yes. We're going
And I
to
think
approve
she can-
communications?
We already did that, I think, we did that.
Me
but
too.
We needed a vote on it.
Yeah.
Because we came up with discussion, so I seconded it.
Yeah. All in favor? All right.
Too many people.
Don, we approve the communications budget for now.
Oh, yeah, we did.
I got Johnson, Seekins, and the vote.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And on to,
The DA budget increased by 28,700 roughly, or 13.29%. Your supervisory fees went down by 6,000. The wage increased by hourly adjustments and normal rate adjustments by 34,400. Benefits decreased by 13,000, that's basically due to the change in which the employees actually signed up for benefits. It's not because the benefits cost went down, it's a change in signage. And the others increased by 1.4, making 28.7. Because some of the
Thanks.
numbers changed, that went.
uh-oh.
Because some of the numbers changed, I did up a new write-up.
Thank you.
I don't think the DA's office did change.
Okay. So this other one's junk now.
Yeah, I've got this one. That's what you got.
Confusing me.
EG junk. All right. Yay. Oh, okay. You have a report for us on your budget.
We are as bare bones as we can be. In the last, I would say, 14 months, we have lost 2 legal secretaries to Franklin County who paid $5 an hour for the exact same position. That was an increase for them. So I've asked for basically a $2 an hour across the board raise, which doesn't even address the disparity, but it gets us to a place where I think we can be a little bit more competitive. I know that the office manager position, the average, we're paying below the average, even with the $2 an hour raise. So I think that we're asking for as little as we can. That doesn't mean that I won't ask for more next year, but I think that this year, it's imperative, we're not gonna be able to keep people. And that's been a problem historically. And I will tell you, 2 of the new people that we've hired at a higher rate have been fantastic. We hope to keep them until they retire. We also are going, it's on the agenda today, our VWA resigned today,
Yep.
or yesterday.
Yep.
Effective, she's gonna be gone
April 4th.
April 5th, I think, April 4th.
April
So we're
4th.
gonna have to hire a new position, and that's a concern for us too. She was here for a long time, she did a great job. So, getting somebody back into that position that is educated, high enough quality, caliber, experience, all that, to just get people to apply is a challenge.
Have you calculated an increase in this budget for that position?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
There would have been, based on Sheena's experience, it was going to be, I think, something like 25. And we can talk about that for the new person. So we have a bit of a range and a bit of a cushion with Sheena leaving.
So she was at like 25 an hour?
She was at 23.
23 an hour?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and this would move it to 25, and that 23 was based on her
She's,
longevity being here?
yes.
So
It
a,
was, and I asked, she was non-union, or she is non-union, so I'd asked for a merit increase outside of a COLA increase before. So, I think it was $1 an hour, something like that.
She's a witness victim
Yeah.
advocate. She's got a degree, bachelor's degree.
right, right. Well, ultimately, my question would be is,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I guess ultimately, my question would be is, I'm assuming that when you put the advertisement out to hire, wage is going to be based on experience?
Yes, sir.
That sort of thing. Is it likely we're going to land somebody with that sort of experience? I guess what I'm assuming, in most cases anyway, my experience is, you're going to find somebody with maybe the educational background and a little bit of experience. Are you looking to start somebody at the same wages that she ended with, or?
Probably not. I think we want the flexibility we want to put it out at a lower number, perhaps, but high enough that we attract the right candidates.
Right.
Right now, I know we have 2 candidates. One has education with little experience. The other has a ton of experience. I'm not sure what the education level is. So I think that until we actually get some applicants that we can see their resumes and their work histories, that's the challenge, is to actually get the applicants in the door.
Right, right. So did you advertise a dollar figure, or was it just
We
based on?
can't until today, actually.
Okay.
It's on the agenda for today's budget, for today's meeting later this afternoon, so we will advertise a number. We haven't even talked about what that number will be to advertise.
Okay. So the number that you have in your budget is just,
Is Sheena's salary right now, so
Right.
23, the projected is 25, so I think we have a bit of a range that we could work with. So I don't want too much disparity between office staff and victim witness advocate either. So I think we'll figure out what the appropriate salary will be, but if we have a little bit of wiggle room, which I think we've budgeted for, we should be okay.
And it's not just salaries that we need to be concerned about, it's also the impact on health, depending on what plan they choose.
Right.
So, Okay.
And then the other stuff, I think there was one increase. For some reason, we've been. Document services, I think I have 2 pending sentencing appeals to the law court, which are my first 2 sentencing appeals at the law court in my career. So, after trial, people are becoming a bit more litigious and appealing more. I think we just paid a $200 bill for the transcript for gross sexual assault trial, which lasted 4 days. So it costs a lot of money to get those transcripts. We're trying more cases. We're getting a couple of people, we have to transport a couple of witnesses from, I think, Michigan, and then another, I'm not sure where the other place was, but that's for a trial in a couple weeks. So it's more expensive. We're having more trials. We're having more appeals. I think that's a function of the changing climate, and I think Commissioner Alsop understands that better than most.
Had an increase in it is, as you can imagine, gas, because gas prices just keep going up.
Right.
So,
Okay. Any other questions or concerns regarding
13.29.
the DA's budget? Motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Okay. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Now we're down to commissioners.
Commission's budget increased by a little over 19,000, or roughly 13%. Wages account for roughly 13,000 of that, legal fees 5,000, and then, lodging 1,000, and others. Roughly $300.
I increased the legal line because we went way over this year. There were a lot of lawsuits going through the sheriffs and the jail, and I tried to help absorb some of those legal bills, so his was over and mine is over, and so we put 5,000 more into the legal services line. That was the reasoning for that. We put another $1,000 in case there is a Maine County Commissioners Association convention. Being that 3 of you are new, I thought you may want to go to that. They offer some pretty good classes, and it's a chance to talk to other commissioners from other counties. I think it's been well worth it over the years, and I know I've had some good classes down there that you may be interested in.
I am missing the legal line in commissioners.
It's under 5430 services.
Ah,
Legal services.
oh, there it is, I see it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
From 10 to 15.
And my question is, is that going to be enough for the legal services? Hopefully. And where do I find our MCCA
That comes
Dues?
under,
dues and membership?
yep, the MCCA usually comes under training and memberships.
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen, about our own budget?
So,
Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the commissioner's budget.
Second.
First by Johnson, second by Seekins. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, it's a go. And we did soil conservation.
Chairman Zizek,
Yes, sir.
I'm having a really hard time hearing you. Are you close to your microphone?
I am.
That
I even pushed it in closer.
the issue?
I don't know. I'm a soft talker, perhaps.
Soft-spoken, yeah.
Yeah,
Big stick, though.
9 millimeter.
Sounds like you're in the bottom of a well somewhere.
Thank you.
Okay.
And the next is HR, which is Department 1175, down below the program services. The budget has increased by 5,700, or roughly 6.9%. Employment services increased by 4,000, and legal fees increased by 2,500.
So the HR is on page 5 of the old spreadsheet and 4 of the new
Page 4 of the
spreadsheet. 4 of the new spreadsheet.
Yeah.
But I think John Alsop has the old spreadsheet. So I just keeping people on their pages.
No, there was no adjustment in the new line.
We're missing an office supply line too, because I needed, to purchase some new file cabinets for the personnel records, because it's really hard to get into them, the mechanism for showering and stuff.
You know, we've
So-
already had somebody get injured on,
Yeah, so
on the
the-
cabinet because we have a makeshift lock on it.
And I haven't added the line yet.
Yeah,
How
so
much
that
is
was about 1,400 for those, and then a chair, so about 600 for that, so about $2,000.
Leanne's been sitting in an old chair and really needs a chair that's right for her.
Not that you haven't messed with the numbers enough.
How much for the filing cabinets do you have proposed?
Yep, 5 filing cabinets would be about $1,400.
1,400,
Yeah,
okay.
I
So
got a couple of different estimates, and that's the average. And we'd still be able to use the old file cabinets, we'd be able to move older records, inactive employees that we wouldn't be getting into as much, so we wouldn't be throwing those ones away. But the new ones would just have a lock, not all these padlocks and these bars that you gotta jimmy and do.
have you inquired with Maine State Surplus about
I
that?
think this is where some of those came from.
But have you inquired,
I haven't, but they have to really have good locks on.
well, but that's again,
Yeah.
one inquires and discovers that they
And
do.
I did
and-
at my previous
Yeah.
job, and they.
I have a question on the legal, that's differentiated from the legal for the commissioner's line? Is that seems like there's some overlap there,
That's,
in terms of actual legal services provided. Is there a distinction that could be made, or does
yeah,
that work?
yeah, because like, for example, this week I've had to talk to Peter myself about personnel issues.
Okay.
So that's a different HR thing versus the commissioners, it's an HR issue.
Okay, so just specifically HR, I mean.
Right, it is it's a
so-
specific HR.
Okay.
Sometimes I need to speak to him to make sure we're following procedure on certain things. Yep,
So the 50% increase on that, that's based on, that's on the legal, right? Looks like-
Right.
The number's little, but it looks like 50% to me.
Yeah.
It is.
Looks like it's an
Going
additional,
from 5,000.
an additional $2,500.
Yeah.
Is that based on, I mean,
That's based on it being way up the last couple of years, and we're just trying to get it in line with what we actually use.
so, trying to see, actuals.
We're a very litigious society these
It
days,
is.
so.
At the end of January, it was 3864.
So,
There it is, 30.
we didn't actually spend what we budgeted for 2023?
No, we're still in 2023. We're, as of
Yeah, so
It's not over yet.
we haven't overspent the
No,
5,000 yet
no.
for, okay.
We got 3.5.
So how did we, I guess, just, where did the number come from? Where did,
We
how
looked
did
at,
we,
we
how do
looked
we?
at what we've used so far, and with Patrick
Mm-hmm.
estimated, you know, what we would need going forward. And looking at the expenses this year, we still have 3.5 months to go,
Right,
to take out of that line. So we're assuming we're gonna expend that whole line and then probably go over.
okay. So has it been a steady increase over the years, or was this
No.
past year specifically
It
bad?
fluctuates. If you look in 2021, we spent 4,300, but you look at 2022, we spent $51. You never
Right.
know.
You never
when you're gonna
know.
get a-
So it's,
a legal
right,
cost.
completely cyclical, right?
Right, and so far this year, we spent almost 4,000 at the end of January, but we usually lag about a month
Mhm.
when it comes to the bills, so you can basically say maybe 4,000 for half a year, so that's where the number came from.
So, okay.
Whether we need it, who knows?
Right, right. So, I guess my question would be well, we've got 3 months left. Let's say we go over the 5,000. How does that work? How does that work? If we go over the 5,000 the next,
We run it in the red,
Right.
Patrick can explain that to you, but we run it in the red, and then we hope we save in another line, so the bottom line is still in line.
Right now, if I use the commissioners as an example, commissioners at the end of the year, the department's gonna be in the red because of legal. Okay? Right now, that doesn't, in the past, way in the past, the way they used to handle that was the commissioners would have to move money from other areas to do that. They
Right.
don't do that anymore. As long as the county as a whole stays within the tax assessment, then we're fine. So the commission can run it in the red, but the savings from another department will cover that. Now, if all the departments run in the red, then we've got a big issue.
right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, I know,
You know,
in the grand scheme of things, of nickel and dime and things, but, you know, a 50% increase is a 50% increase in something that we don't know we're gonna need. I mean,
in this climate.
we gotta make adjustments.
Legal is pretty important to have.
We'll just become parsimonious and send the lawyer a bill for his services.
Right.
I'd have to agree, I mean, if we base every bit of the budget on what ifs, we're gonna have more in the budget than we need, more than likely.
Yeah.
So, I don't know,
You do, just for information, we do what we call an overlay. The overlay is supposed to be, in definition, used for anyone that doesn't pay their taxes. Since I've been here, knock on wood, there hasn't been a town that hasn't paid their taxes. So you always have that overlay to help cover any overages that may occur in other areas.
Okay.
In that overlay, you have the ability as commissioners to go up to 2% of the budget. We've been running just 1%, which is equal to about 130,000. I think so far in this budget, it's right around 150,000. Because we don't use that for, bad debt, that cannot be used to, in theory, offset other areas of issues.
Okay.
I guess for me in that situation, I mean, if we could just drop that, again, nickel and dime in here, but if we could just drop that to a 25% increase, it's something. And we can revisit it again in a couple of days, couple of weeks, whatever it is, when we get back together. Just throwing it out there.
So,
It'd be 1350,
Yeah.
1250.
That's my thought. Bringing it down to about 2,500, right?
so
5,000.
650, 250? 6,250, or 125 rather, excuse me.
Yeah, so the increase was,
2,500,
yeah, 2,500. If you're gonna
The
cut that
increase
in
would be
half, that's, 1,000.
1250.
50.
Yeah,
Is that the right math, is that the right math guy?
Yes, it is.
The final number is going to be
Numbers, man.
6,250,
Okay,
down from 7,500.
let's do that.
Yep.
That's good.
And I'm going to add a line for the office supplies for the 2,000.
Right, because
I
then,
just threw it in books right now, just to hold it.
and that will be the 2,000, so there we are.
Not as much of an increase then with the cabinets in there.
Okay, so are we good with HR?
Okay, I'm gonna make
As-
a motion to accept their budget with the reduction that we just put in the legal line.
Okay, and the 2,000 for the
Office supply,
the office
the
supplies.
office line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all right.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? All right, that's a go, thank you. Finance,
Okay. This is moving parts with finance. Finance is where we plug in the undesignated fund balance. And we utilize some of the undesignated fund balance to reduce the overwide county budget is plugged into finance. Wait, the reason I state that is, we set aside $600,000 last year to offset some of the increases for last year's budget. So far this year, in this year's budget, I've put in $275,000. That's gonna be part of a bigger discussion when we start talking about the ARPA funds and the undesignated funds. And I was thinking to do that discussion once you've seen the whole budget, so you know what we're looking at, and then I can show you the forecast that I put together on what I think we should do, but of course, the commissioners can allocate the funds where they want to put it.
here.
I just mentioned that because one of the big changes in the finance budget is a reduction of $235,000.
Where is it?
This is finance.
Yeah.
The actual undesignated funds. Undesignated.
That's on the next page.
Another big change,
What line was that?
it's in the revenues.
Oh, yeah.
Right at the top.
Expense total or, up in the top? Yeah, that's what I
Where it
thought.
says revenue.
Yeah,
The first line is interest income.
yeah,
Currently, we're sitting at the end of February, or 1st of March, so it includes all the way up to February. We're sitting at 318,000 in interest income. And the total budget was 11,000, so we're significantly above the budget amount. The budget was based on like 0.3% return on our income, because that's where it was. Currently, we're at roughly 4.5% return on our general fund banking account. So that's generating, like last month, that generated right around $55,000, $56,000 that month. Of course, that will vary. I expect that we're gonna come in between $400,000 to $450,000 this year in interest income. Next year, I budgeted 300,000, so that's 300,000 compared to 11,000, so I brought it up by almost 290,000. It's not where we're trending right now, but it's still aggressive, because as fast as it's gone up, it can go back down. So, yeah, we could jump it up to maybe 400,000, but then we have to, you know, we have to, you know, keep control of the feds on how they do the rates.
Yeah.
But, that's where I have it right now, is 300,000. This year, it's gonna be right around 400, 450, so you can use that to judge if you wanna increase it, decrease it, or so on.
Where's that interest income come from?
It comes from our general fund bank account, it's a Bangor savings.
Okay, so it's just basically savings account interest,
We've looked at doing
Okay.
CDs and things like that, and
locking them in is
you gotta
tough.
lock it in for, a lot of the funds that we have to do, you have to lock it in for 3 to 5 years, because
Yeah.
we've got special regulations, it's not like we can just run out and do this. So, when we compared our bank interest to what we could get from CDs, we've got a pretty good rate. You
Yeah.
try to go out
That's
there and
good
get a CD for 4.5%,
Right.
it's gonna be pretty high.
Right, right.
And it's
And it's
liquid.
locked.
Yeah, it's liquid, and you
Yeah.
have control over it.
Right.
Okay.
Other changes to finance, wage and benefits increased by 13,000, that's nominal rate adjustment, the 3.5%. Another increases were 3,600, I think, the majority of those was under office supplies. I've seen quite a bit of increase in I want to say, the W-2 requirements, the 1099 requirements, the softwares that we use for the 1095 has gone up. So all the supplies and software required to do our financial reporting has taken quite an increase. And the toners, one toner cost almost 300 and something dollars for one toner. And I did put in for a new chair. Now, I have the same exact chair that was left there, and I can still use it, it's still not broken, but I put in for another new chair, so that would probably be around $600-700. So if you wanna take that, you can, but the other stuff, we really need.
So question for you, on the health insurance line, is it, so we're looking at a 12% increase there. Is that pretty much average across the board, and
Well,
is that what we're seeing everywhere?
no, the actual increase is 7.5%. You get a compounded effect, because in last year's budget, I used 5%. In the last 2 years, it's been like 7.5%. That's why it looks like.
Oh, we're making up for the
We're making
real
up-
shortage from
making
last,
up for last budget
Right.
plus this budget. So,
so the real number, so this past year, the real number is somewhere around 5 or 6%
7.5.
that they're charging us more,
Last
7.5.
couple of years.
Yeah, and you pulled that right off the top of your head, okay.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Scary, scary. 7.5% increase, yeah.
yeah, the year before that was 5, and 7.5, and 7.5.
I thought there was a national health care plan that was supposed to take care of that stuff.
Well, unfortunately, it's
I
based,
thought our rates were supposed to go down.
but the thing is, we're part of a group, but the group is part of Maine, it's not national. And it's just based on our usage rate, and if we have a lot of unfortunate illnesses. that
Right.
cause it. So it's not just the cost going up, it might be that we're utilizing it more the last few years too.
That's a tough one to be, even on the municipal level right now, that same thing's happened in a little town like
Oh, yeah.
St. Albans. So you're talking
We
7-8% increase.
Right.
The thing is, we even went out, I think it was 2 years ago, went out to see if we could get away from that on our own,
Right.
and the cost was too
I
much.
don't know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, part of that, yeah. They made it much more difficult for that to happen, and expensive.
So are we comfortable with letting Patrick have a new chair? I think we can,
You can take it.
I'm pretty sure he uses it quite a lot.
I'm sure he's good for it.
Tracy's not here, I can steal Tracy's.
Swap it with Tracy, oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, I'll
She'll never
make a
know.
motion to approve finance.
Second.
Okay, any other questions, comments? All in favor? To go, thank you. And
Next is IT. Okay.
T, here we are.
This is where we can really gouge it.
Not
I'll
really.
explain how the department is set up for IT. We're gonna be discussing two departments. 1245, the IT department, and 1246, which is IT support for the county. The 1245 has the costs associated with the IT labor, the employees, their phone, their wages, their travel, and so on. So that's really, the IT personnel is under 1245. When we get to 1246, that is the cost of everything associated with IT to support the whole county. So it's all the software, it's the mainframe, it's the, laptops, it's the desktops, it's all that licensing agreements, maintenance agreements. So that will be that part of it. So we'll discuss 1245 first, which is the labor cost, and then we'll do 1246, which is basically all the other things, all the softwares and so on. So the IT department increased by 157,000, which is a 113% increase. And the majority of that is tied to labor costs. We added a position. Currently, we have 5 IT staff, and this budget increases it up to 6. Okay. It also, we've had to do some, I want to say, wage adjustments over and above the 3% because of the market, to bring them more in line to what the market is trending. So that's really the big change, bringing their wages up to market, somewhat market level. Can never keep up with market, and adding a position. That's the big change in their labor side.
So under regular wages, that's a reflection of that additional position?
Yes, wages and benefits,
Okay.
all those line items would be included in an additional position.
Do we have, I know that we have one open position. Do we have any other open positions at this point?
No, just one.
Okay.
Just one?
This would make 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, one currently.
We never filled that position several years ago when when the person got done, because we were trying to save in the budget, but I think Pavel can, probably even Pat can tell you that those guys are straight out, and now of course we've had one of them pass away, so we're kind of in dire straits. The sheriff is down one IT person at the jail, and
Right,
it's pretty serious to get somebody replaced up there.
right. Yeah, so we're really down 2, and we're looking to add a 3rd.
No,
No.
No?
No,
No, the back,
two
I think
positions.
you guys can remember, back when the IT department actually serviced Pittsfield.
Yeah,
Right.
Well, once that service went away, they re-looked at the department, and they tried the 5 positions scenario.
yep,
But currently, you have 2 employees that are pretty close to retirement. What I would suggest is to keep this additional person in, to fill the slots, and then a couple of years down the road, because they got some major projects going on. They got the revamping of the jail, and doors locked, they got the,
Yeah.
Central Square.
Central Square, they got
Right.
the dark fiber project, all those projects. So I would suggest to keep it in, and then maybe 2 years down the road, when the other ones start to retire, revisit it to see by then what the manpower requirements are, but they need the manpower now.
Oh, I would like to see those filled. I keep at it and fill it,
Right.
not just leave it as a placeholder, but actually fill these positions. Yeah. No, I know that,
Two
we-
positions,
I know that we need the manpower in IT.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys do Skowhegan at all? The town of Skowhegan?
No,
No.
no.
So under this IT department, we do all the IT for,
The jail, the comm center, and this building.
so the sheriff's budget does not include IT. This is kind of, we take care of that with this budget.
Right. When we get down to
Explain that.
down to 1246, I can explain this.
Okay.
In the sense that we have 3 buckets. We have the general fund bucket, we have the jail fund, and we have the UT. They all have 3 separate tax caps, okay? So when we get down to the support side, we do allocate all IT support to each department, but because say the sheriff's office falls under the general fund, we don't, in theory, charge the sheriff's department, it just stays in the IT department. But when you get to the jail side, you're gonna see a line item called IT services. That's where we charge from the IT department to the jail to reduce basically the IT budget by what portion is associated with the jail.
When we get to that part, can you just
Yeah.
remind me
Yeah, 'cause
and look at it so that,
Yeah, right now.
if I skip forward, I'm gonna be more confused, so
Okay.
I don't wanna do that. I wanna stay where I'm at.
Now, roughly about 490,000 of the total IT budget is gonna go to the jail. And they're gonna cover it under their tax cap. We can explain that when we get to the total.
Thanks.
Says here that legal is $70,000 for that, hope I'm on the right line.
For IT?
Yeah.
IT doesn't have any much legal.
Wait a minute, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. That was in another line.
Not that fair.
No.
I don't want to scare you.
Well, you were looking at the
Correction.
IT revenue increased by a -80,
Yeah.
okay? So it was a decrease?
No, I had to put the negative because a positive number means it increased.
Yeah,
So when the revenue increased, that means it decreased their expenses. So any increase in revenue, I have to put as a negative.
Right.
Any decrease in revenue, I have to put as a plus.
okay,
To make the bottom come up.
It's a little
Yeah.
confusing.
I know. It's-
It's the credits and debits.
Yeah,
Accounting lingo.
thank you, though. I'm aware of it, but I keep forgetting that. So,
I guess
are we all set with
I had
12:45? Any
one more question,
questions?
if I could.
Yeah, yeah.
So, the ARPA funds, one-time good deal, right? So how does this look when we no longer have ARPA funds?
That's gonna be part of the explanation, but what
Okay,
happens is.
I'm getting ahead of myself again.
No, all questions, good questions. We're putting extra funds away currently in the reserve for the debt. Next year, the debt, in theory, is gone. So what you see in these ARPA funds, even though they go away, there's another item that goes away at the same time, so the
Okay.
impact is minimal.
Yeah. No, I apologize, just my
No,
experience in the legislature, they do a lot of one-time funding, so then either the next half of the biennium, now you have a position that's unfunded, and So that's where I'm coming at on
Yeah.
looking at this.
Yeah, at the very end, what I do is I try to do a 5-year plan, and I try to forecast what I think we're gonna be at, so you can utilize the ARPA funds and the undesignated fund balance to adjust those years as you see fit, to try to keep, instead of having this,
Mm-hmm.
try to have this.
Right.
So we will utilize, what I've done this, for this plan is I put in exactly the same amount of ARPA funds we did last year for this year, so that when you're seeing the variance, it's a true variance, because I'm not disguising it by using more ARPA funds.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're looking at this, it's just whatever we used last year in ARPA funds, I put in this year just to keep it even. But
Mhm.
that can be adjusted, you know, at the end when we look at the big picture.
Okay, thank you. I'm good now.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor of the IT? This is the,
Motion and who seconded?
No, I motion.
Scott seconded, and this is just 1245 IT department.
Yeah.
Right.
We're approved. Now, 1246 IT,
46, more documents.
of course.
Well,
I don't have room.
there's a lot of moving parts. when it comes
Running
to
up that office supply budget.
There goes the top.
I'm trying to be as transparent as possible.
Look at this. Ah, yes.
You got it?
Good Lord.
This is the allocation.
Yes, thank you. I got this.
And the first, I guess, 11 by 17, that paper I gave you is the actual allocation by department of the
Yeah,
IT.
yeah.
I like the online one. I'm all set, actually.
Okay. 1246. Budget actually decreased by 18,200. That's really basically because they were able to allocate another 80,000 to the jail. The IT supplies increased by 10,000. The IT warranties increased by 12,600. License agreements went up by 36,000. And that's all these details here that are part of this sheet.
Okay.
If you look, the first page is really basically 1245, you don't have to look at that. At the bottom of the 12, of the first sheet is where 1246 starts. And that's where you can see each individual line item or item that makes up that account. The only reason we do that is like when you get on to the second page, if you look at license agreements, it's got
Yeah.
maybe, 30 or 40 different license agreements that make up that number. And this is to give you an idea where the impacts are. Like under license agreements, Citrix went up like $8,000, but then if you look at the Windows Server data center, that went down by 6,000. So there's so funds
Microsoft, 20 grand.
yeah, Microsoft, that Microsoft upgrade, and we've been pushing this off for several years now, waiting for Microsoft to require us to go to 360. 360 for us would cost us roughly, I don't know, last time I looked, like $20, $21
Per user per month.
per user per month. So we're talking big money if we have
Yep.
to go that. So we've been pushing off and actually purchasing the Office when you purchase the PC. So we've been buying like Office 219 and so on. But they're eventually gonna do away with that and require us to go to 365.
Isn't 219 their last one?
I don't know.
They still have another hard copy?
No, they said 2000.
Okay, can you explain the revenue aspect of that to me again?
Okay, the I don't know if you probably, let me bring it up on the computer for you.
I got this in front of me.
You see this sheet right here?
I don't see a sheet.
On my screen? You can't see my screen?
I just see you.
Really? So you've been seeing
Yeah,
it
probably.
all along and not the screen?
I see you, I see Pavel, I see John, and I don't see any commissioners, and I don't hear them either. Basically, except for Joel, I can hear him pretty good.
Can you see that?
I get that a lot.
Yeah, I can see it now. Really.
We can hear you clearly now.
Okay. Okay, this is the sheet that I'll be looking at. This is the allocation. It has each, like I said, it has the software is listed down beside, has the expenses, has the hardware, and so on. And at the top of the file, it lists the allocation keys. Some of the expenses are allocated based on employees in each department. Some of them are based on computers, printers, workstations, and phones, and so on. So all the IT costs for their departments are allocated among each of the finance areas, the departments. If you look at the very bottom of the sheet, I can get that in there. You can see in column P, which is the first
Yeah.
column, says jail contractors. It's at
Yeah.
478,000. That 478,000 is the amount of IT costs that can be charged to the jail.
Okay, I get it.
So when you're seeing the revenue line for the IT department, that revenue is really coming from the jail and a little bit from UT, because we do charge UT a portion of that. And
Okay.
UT is the middle column. UT is roughly 12, we charge roughly 13,000 to the UT for the IT system. So the increase of 80,000 is basically, last year, we charged the jail 80,000 less for what they're receiving. So this year, we're charging them more because they receive a larger portion of the percentage.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
I guess, as you're going down through that, if you have any questions, instead of going down through each one of these line items, if something pops up. I'm sorry you guys weren't able to see, well, you weren't able to see my screen. I thought I had shared.
But I've been going on this thing that I wrote down with me. I think it's a shame. Okay.
This is typical of
Any other questions?
Any
I
questions?
have no further questions.
I guess one point I'll make is, you'll see this 16,000 for SharePoint.
We're at.
I think Robert and Sid will remember, the jail has a software program called, what is it? No, it's,
It's the other one.
not actually, no, the Chrome one.
We're still under the here, but,
Cold Fusion.
Cold Fusion, yes.
Cold Fusion.
Oh, yeah.
They're using Cold Fusion to do a lot of their reporting. It's put it this way, the only person that we could find that writes Cold Fusion was in Pennsylvania,
yeah.
and we don't even know if that person still exists.
Oh, jeez.
So, we need to move the jail off from that, because that server is that a 2003 server?
Yeah.
It's a 2003 server, and they're not upgrading it, so it's a
Right.
security risk.
Yeah,
So the idea is to get the Microsoft SQL, not,
And SharePoint.
SharePoint, so that Jonathan, which is an IT employee, has some experience with SharePoint. So I think between him and Pavel, that they're gonna try to move all the jail Cold Fusion reporting over to this SharePoint.
okay.
Yeah.
Where is this in here? What?
It's on the last page of it, the smaller document
Oh, okay,
with the detail.
yeah.
There's Microsoft,
Yeah, I remember the horror story of Cold Fusion and
yeah.
the guy in Pennsylvania who,
Well, Axio was supposed to take care of all that.
yeah,
But it's not.
yeah. And so I am looking for,
It's $16,070.32.
what,
We budget to the penny.
where is it over here? It's called,
Fourth one up from that top column.
It's on the third page, and it's called Microsoft Server SharePoint.
Yeah.
You on the third page?
Microsoft Service, yeah, I see it right there, yeah. Oh, okay. Is this hardware and software?
This is
That's
just
just software.
software.
Okay.
So I've got a question on that same page, the very last part, I'm assuming that the acronym means IT Maintenance Agreement,
Yeah.
okay? Seems like from year to year it fluctuates large amount, I mean, it's not a lot of dollars, but large amounts. What is that? Are we purchasing things from year to year and some years we don't need to purchase it, or?
Yeah, the largest part of the IT maintenance agreements is system engineering. System engineering is a company out of Portland that we utilize their services to help monitor our system and do health checks. They actually monitor our system 24/7 and will notify us if there's if they see any issues, whether it comes to hard drives, hardware, software, and so on. So they monitor that. So a large portion of that cost is tied to system engineering and the services they provide us. So
Is that like almost like an hourly basis type of thing? Is that why it fluctuates so much?
Some of it's fixed and some of it's hourly, so it will depend on whether we have specific projects that we need their assistance on.
So does the Valhalla phone support, is that similar? I see a 300% increase from 21 to 22, and then it drops back down to 4,000 again.
Yeah, because when it comes to the phone system, I think in '22, that's when we switched and did virtual PBXs, right?
Yes.
So we actually had a major change in the phone system. We had physical PBXs that were failing, so we had to reconfigure it and actually put it into a virtual server base for the PBXs that control the phone system. Eventually, we may go away from this. We've been putting it off, but, the phone over IP, we haven't done that because that comes with a substantial monthly charge. But at a point when our phone system is needing to be replaced, we're probably gonna look at, how to do that, whether we get away from the PBXs and go to the IP based. Don't let them speak for you.
Yeah, no, but with the current phone system, when we did the upgrades, we should be good at least for like 8 years.
Oh, yeah?
It's a new system and it's kind of bulletproof, so we don't have to really change that for many years.
Yeah. It's just one of those things, it stands, when it increases and decreases by a
Yeah.
large amount, it just stands out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more questions or concerns? All right. Motion,
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept this account.
Second.
this motion is for 1246 IT
Yep.
supplemental. Moved and seconded. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Okay,
Thank you.
let's go.
I'm sorry, I missed who seconded.
Sip and Scott.
Just copy and paste.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to do it.
I'm not gonna throw a wrench in the works, they're moving along smoothly.
We have maintenance next. Yep, I think you're good. But what I do want to ask is, are we breaking at noon for lunch, and am I ordering you guys pizza or sandwiches, or we didn't discuss that? Normally, we bring you in something.
We can break at noon for lunch, and if anybody wants to have order, that'd be fine. You want to eat here, eat in?
You can go out, you can eat in, you can, however you want to do it. And just
fine
tell
with
us what
staying.
time to be back.
Do you wanna stay or leave?
I'm fine staying, yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine to stay.
Staying.
Yep, we can order.
Okay, and what is it you all know what you're gonna order? Or you wanna wait, let's go through maintenance and then you can tell me what you
We'll
might.
do maintenance, and somebody might want a menu from
We might
someplace.
wanna call it in,
Yeah.
something later too, so. Would you like me to go get the menu?
Yeah,
So John, what would you like for lunch?
Yeah.
I always have a peanut butter sandwich here.
Scott's buying.
We go outside in the 70-degree sunshine and.
Stop.
oh, thank you, John.
No, I can mute you for
That's just not cool. That's not cool at all.
Actually, it's pretty cold here today, we're in the 40s, it's really. Ooh, good day for me to be doing this.
Beach time is, maintenance,
on the way to Don.
sure. Here she is.
I have 3 menus, so someone will have to,
Just,
you guys will
Thanks,
have
you
to
guys.
share.
I think we can do that. Here's good stuff.
2 of you.
Oh, maintenance.
Okay, the maintenance budget went down by a little over 33,000, or 12.5%. And the majority of that is due to a reduction in capital projects. I think the only capital project that we have listed for maintenance for next year is replace of the roof at the extension office.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't have a quote for that. We put in 15,000, but that roof's an asphalt roof, I think. Yes. So I don't know if 15,000 is sufficient for an asphalt roof.
What is our time frame for a new roof on that particular building?
Well, my understanding is it's growing moss on one
Yeah.
side of it,
Oh.
and it's curled.
That's not,
It's curled.
Oh,
cavemen used to
It's
have moss on their
pretty
roofs
bad.
all the time.
Watershed's off that
I
bottom.
haven't seen it,
okay,
I know when Commissioner Graff looked around, he said it was in bad shape.
yeah.
Review.
Well,
What was that on?
and I don't know if 15,000 is
15 is not enough.
How big of a building is it?
Yeah, that's what,
Pretty,
probably, what, 40 by 50?
yeah.
I'd almost
good
double
size
that.
building. You probably,
Prior to, we first went over there and looked at it, it had trees growing all over the building. So
Yeah.
it never got any sun. And we removed all those trees, now the sunshine goes in there, so I don't think just gonna deteriorate as fast, so
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we have.
Which line is that on? Is that
That's,
5,000 building R and M?
No, it's under, Trans-Out.
Oh, very bottom line.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't read very good, but Trans-Out means capital in Trio, but
Okay.
these
Oh, I
sheets
see,
were
yeah.
under detail.
That is,
Well, that's good to know. Let's see.
so we just have 15,000 put away?
That's what is in the budget currently. We don't have anything put away yet.
Okay.
Just
Nothing
waiting
there
for
yet.
next year. And if you're saying that that's too low, but the roof doesn't need to be replaced next year, maybe that'd be a placeholder.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we don't know if it needs to be
It's not
replaced next year,
Well,
though.
I thought SIP said that.
Well, we removed all the troublesome spots. When the trees were on that roof, they were constantly
Mm-hmm.
agitating the roof. And now that we've cleared it out, I don't know,
Do you want,
I haven't looked at it recently, but.
Yeah, I just
do
wonder.
you want to try to be consistent with what we did earlier and
Yeah, we.
maybe reduce that down to 25% or 50% of what the number is now on here? Is that what you're thinking?
Well,
No, I wouldn't reduce
I wouldn't
it.
go down from 15,000, but
You would or would not?
would not.
Oh, okay,
No, I would not either,
okay.
but I don't know what building materials are this year.
Asphalt shingles are ridiculous.
Are they?
Yeah, they're made out of oil and we don't drill oil
Yeah.
anymore, so cost goes up.
Oh, okay. And metal roof doesn't help either.
Other,
Let's hold it at 15.
the benefits went down by 10,000, that's just a change in election of the health insurance fund employees. Utilities went up by, almost 34,000. Electricity has gone up from roughly 11 cents to 20 cents per kilowatt.
Yeah.
Yep.
The heating oil, there is some flexibility in that, in the sense that we're currently in a contract, and we're paying $1.84 per gallon.
Wow.
Well, I got that contract 2 years ago.
How do I get in on that one?
But when we put the budget together and I went out and I looked at the average cost, it was at $4.50. I looked at this yesterday and it's at $4, so it has to come down some. So we could decrease that some, assuming that this summer, when I negotiate the next year's contract, I can get it at a lower rate. So I think there's a little flexibility there.
How much is some?
Well, at 450.
Well, I mean, the overall number, what are you expecting we could adjust? When you said we could adjust some, how much is some?
Well, right now, you could bring that down to $4, and it should be safe.
What would that end number be? I don't know how many gallons.
It's like 9,000 gallons, so 50 cents would give you about
$4,500.
Then when we start talking about the jail, that's 50,000 gallons.
Right.
So, lock potentially in at 438 that we're,
No, we're locked in at $1.85.
$1.85 right now.
Right, that's for this season. Next season, I have to negotiate a new contract for here in the jail.
So what do you anticipate that being?
I have no idea. I don't know if the current provider, because they're eating so much this year, that they're not gonna come back with an extreme high price next year, trying to recoup some of their losses.
Yeah.
Well, I know what I'm locked in at with myself and my rentals is quite a bit less than $4 a gallon right now. So you would feel comfortable with reducing that line by 4,500?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You would?
Yeah, because that's why I said, if you look at the main market, there's some out there that are selling it right around $3.
Right,
And then there's others that are selling around $5, that's where they get their $4 average.
right,
So I'm hoping they come in closer to the $3 area.
right.
So, it's how aggressive we wanna go, whether we wanna go $4, $3.50, I don't know if I'd go with $3, but,
Right.
I think $4 is safe.
yeah, 4 should be safe.
Yeah.
3 would be getting
That's
closer to.
skating on it. Yeah. That's, three would be wishful.
Reduce that by $4,500.
Okay. Electricity, unfortunately, we're locked in at that rate, so.
Right.
It is what it is. And building repair and maintenance is up 8,400. That's,
What about, and I don't see it on this, but other departments maybe, how about, fuel costs, where gasoline, diesel was
the only-
at
the
$5 and now it's less?
yeah, you got we don't really have any diesel per se. We got heating oil, we got propane, a little bit of propane at the jail and at the comm center. Oil, it's here and at the jail. And when it comes to the gasoline, it's really the sheriff's office.
That's the big one, okay.
That, we do have some at the comm center because Mike has a vehicle
And the DA's office.
and the DA.
Yeah, that's
Small.
minuscule compared to, right,
the sheriff.
right, okay. Well, I'll put that in my memory bank for when we hit the sheriff's department. so. Perfect. Yeah, it's still gonna be 130% increase or something on that line.
Now,
Beyond our
building
control.
repair and maintenance, that's because you have to redo the bathroom, is it?
Yes. That was a horror show.
Is that here in Skowhegan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Any questions, concerns? So we're going to reduce the fuel.
Reduce the
4,500.
heating fuel down to 40,500.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve maintenance?
I'll make a motion to approve maintenance.
Second.
Questions? Further discussion? All in favor? Let's go. Thank you. And should we move to debt service, or are we just moving on to
Debt
deeds?
service is fixed. So it would be deeds.
Deeds.
She's right there.
Okay. She's just grabbing that.
All right, well, she does that, I'll do this. Did you already look at this?
Thought about your lunch.
Take it, I can-
You can,
Chicken salad sub.
I double as a waitress, what do you guys want? Sometimes I'm off the floor, too, what do you need?
And have the seafood salad, Dagwood.
Okay, the chicken salad.
No, seafood.
Oh, seafood.
You sure?
I think that was probably,
Maybe flip it over?
I'll ask you
Okay,
for everything, whatever they have, yeah.
we should have separated it.
Large chicken salad sub. Here, I'll give you that.
I don't know if I want a pizza.
Yep.
Additional mayo on the roll or no?
Just the way it is. It's
Chicken
fine.
salad and a,
I'm not fussy.
yeah, well,
Thanks.
thank you. All right. I guess
I'm gonna get a 10-inch pepperoni.
I said as far as it,
No, I got one.
I am going to have the Italian, tuna salad Italian, the large, and a Coke. Thank you.
no, I have extra lunch.
No, I gotta go check the dog. Wife is taking care of the grandbabies today.
Ah, Are we ready for deeds? All set?
Deeds, budget increased by a little over 51,000 because the revenue went down.
The revenue went down.
Right. We budgeted 500,000 in revenue for last year,
Yeah,
and this year the business plan was set at 450, so a $50,000 reduction in revenue.
what did,
We are trending $7,000 below the business plan, and if that trend continues, we will not hit the 500,000, we'll be slightly below, we'll be like 490 or so. So, they looked at the mid-year that we was gonna get roughly 500 and something thousand, but now it's, but unless it picks up in the last few months, it's gonna be a challenge to hit the 500,000.
well, maybe spring will make it,
Well, it's, you always have, like, you're coming into your, I hate to even say it, but your tax lien season,
yeah.
and that's when things pick up and our revenue will pick up because of that. I'm concerned because the housing market isn't very great. There was like almost a 29% decrease in sales.
Wow.
So I would rather be on the conservative side than to overestimate that and not make it. I'd rather have it lower and be able to go
Yeah.
above if we can.
Yeah. We like that.
It's not likely the housing market is gonna pick up.
No, it's probably gonna crash.
Most likely to go the other way.
Increase rates again.
Yeah, the rates are, yeah.
Rates are going up,
Yeah.
banks are crashing.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing is the actual cost is not really reducing, so interest rates, I mean, just less and less, there's less stock, less people are gonna be able to afford to buy it, so.
Building materials and not cheap.
No, all of it's working against us for sure.
So that's the big change, really, is just the change in revenue
Yeah.
from year to year.
All right.
Not much we can do about that.
Unfortunately, one thing.
Cost, 30%. Membership.
So, other than that, just the association rate increase?
Yes, they hadn't had a rate increase in several years, and it
Yeah.
went up $50.
From 150 to 200, so, thank you. Okay.
Temporary. What's that temporary line, the second one down?
It's a temporary staff. that we have.
Temporary staff.
The big change there is the temporary staff rate was 15, it's gone up to $19 an hour. That's the big change. The requirement hasn't really changed. Rate.
It's just the rate, yeah. We hire them through,
We hire them just through years, not through the temp agency.
okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
And there's different terms used for towns. When we get to like the sheriff's office, they have long reserves,
Oh, yeah.
which
Yeah.
is still a temp.
Yeah.
No motion.
I did ask the air conditioner.
All set? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve deeds.
Okay, any questions or discussions? All in favor? It's approved. Thank you. Very good.
All right, awesome, thanks, guys.
On the probate, yeah, we have 20 minutes. We can do probate.
20 minutes, yes.
And then we'll wrap it up with probate for lunch.
Yeah, Dave's gonna pick that up for us.
Oh, thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we're on probation until probate gets here.
Very nice of you.
1.84%.
Can you hear me any better, John? I guess not.
This nice woman who just left said she made you cookies and they're in the break room, so I'll bring those in when lunch comes.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's nice.
Should be right now.
Is it still out there?
Overcast.
Yeah. It's gonna get windy.
I was just so happy we didn't lose power. It sucks.
It's page 7.
Okay, probate.
1385, probate.
Yeah. The bottom line hasn't really changed that much.
Really?
$3,000 or roughly 2%. There is a wage increase of roughly 18,000, but then there's a benefit decrease because of the, depending on how employees sign up for health insurance. So we've got a benefit there of 14,000, and then there's another for $600 that makes up the 3,000. So the big change when it comes to labor, you can see on the temporary line, that
20 grand.
is using Joe. I don't, you know Joe, but
Yeah.
Joe used to work here and she retired. So we're gonna utilize Joe to help train the existing hire, plus there is another hire that we need to do in that office. And she'll be utilized for that training also.
Good. Any questions?
Yeah, just looking at the legal services for 2022, it being 5,757, and then now we're asking for 12 grand, and we're only at 1,680 for 2023.
Want to tell them what that's for?
The legal services, we're required by law to appoint an attorney for folks that are incapacitated should they ask for one, and we're required to pay them. The newest law that just came out, that's effective immediately, is $150 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
We're not sure how this is gonna affect us in the end, but I don't feel comfortable reducing that. If you look at historically, we bounced all over the place on that line.
It just seems like a little bit stronger than it needs to be in terms of previous expenditures, but
Yeah, but like I said, it went from $75 an hour to $150, and that just changed.
yeah.
Double,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's-
double the wage, double the cost.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So the other question I had is, what is the $6,000 used for advertising?
That's our legal notices.
Legal.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's by statute as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you advertise?
We do it right through the town line, which is the cheapest advertising that we can get. I know that we've had to use the Morning Sentinel at one point, and they're about quadruple the cost of the town line, so.
Okay,
We're
good.
just sliding under the radar with this publication too, so.
Mm, yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Mention that, unfunded mandate.
Any further questions or discussion? Motion to accept?
So move.
Okay.
Hey,
Scott?
Messing
Second?
up the system.
I'll second.
All right. Scott moved,
You tricked me this time.
yeah,
That's,
jumped right in there.
Just, wanted to switch it up a little.
Scott motioned and
Second. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor? We're good. Thank you.
yes, help yourself.
Could be accepting no, when we do them.
Yeah, because we've been looking at the revenues and we have been
Yeah,
accepting
and
them, but as we do it, we're doing this all as one.
My
so-
man, he says I've been
Okay.
summoned
Yeah.
for jury.
Yeah, we're doing the whole thing, we're accepting the budget.
I've had
Yeah,
this much paper on my desk in front
did they realize I'm a lawyer?
It's like we discussed on the revenue, the
They
500,000.
usually-
of me. You know,
They,
Yeah, but it's out of your life.
But they.
We brought it down.
And they still want
I
to.
remember last year when we were doing that, we wanted,
Guys.
Newell and I fought for
I think we were gonna break it.
450,
Yeah.
and then they wanted this, and
Well, it's a good place.
didn't happen. Yes, okay.
oh, great.
Agree about the sheriff, I agree about
Number
that.
91.
It's gonna hurt my head.
I'm going to have us adjourn, recess, and try to be back here by 1:15.
Your food won't be ready till noon, but Dave's already headed up there
Uh,
to pick it up.
Yeah, but we might need to do something else before we,
Just so I hear correctly, we're breaking for an hour, is that right?
Yes.
that's correct.
Okay.
You have an hour in the sun.
See you later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to move around a little.